Welcome everyone to Wednesday Night Oasis at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Sally Bartholomew, and I am glad that you are here this evening. We are in for a treat this evening, but let me tell you a little bit about Wednesday Night Oasis. What is Wednesday Night Oasis? Well, it is a place where we come together as a community between Sundays, and we come together to talk about the Sunday service, what stirred us, what inspired us, and to hear what the speaker has to say relative to that topic or whatever they bring to us on Wednesday night. So last Sunday, Reverend Sunshine Michelle introduced ideas inspired by the title of Percolating Your Passion with Purpose. Try to say that 5 times fast. And tonight, our speaker will continue the exploration of this same topic. Excuse me. Our annual theme this year is Living Out Loud. And our monthly theme for August is My Passion, My Purpose. So as we gather tonight, we welcome you. And we've said it before, and it's worth saying it again, that early in her ministry with us, Reverend Sunshine Michelle invited us to come to the center well, come well. And to do so, she gave us 6 C's to consider. Come with a heart of love and tenderness, and she called that compassion. Come ready to exchange openly. She called that communication. Come in harmony and ready to share, communion. Come in friendship and family, camaraderie. Come in partnership and cooperation, collaboration. Come in spiritual awareness and truth, consciousness. So as we move into the program tonight, these 6 C's are the premise of our sharing a wonderful evening with you. Welcome. I'd also like to welcome any new people. Looking down the list, I'm seeing a lot of familiar names, but if I don't spy your name, or maybe you're new to the YouTube recording of this, welcome. We are glad you're here. And we invite you to navigate yourself to our website, www.oaklandcsl.org. Click on the I'm New icon, and then provide your email address so that we can start sending the village newsletter to you once a week so that you'll get information about what's going on at the center. Couple of housekeeping notes. Please be sure to mute your audio this evening so that the recording of this event is as good as we can get it. You're welcome to leave your video on so that the speaker can see who you are and how you're reacting to what she's got to say this evening. I invite you to stay tuned all the way to the end of service to receive those special and important announcements that you might get in the village news as well. So this evening, we have a familiar person here at the Oakland Center. Sridevi Ramanathan is the co-founder and co-facilitator of the Diversity Circle at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. She regularly participates in various interfaith events as a speaker, dancer, and artist. She presented at the Parliament of World Religions, which is actually happening right now in Chicago, I believe, as part of the Diverse Voices of Women's Spirituality panel in 2015 and the Dismantling Patriarchy in World Religions panel in 2021. So for years, she has actively participated in programs and events that give power to girls and women, including 1 Billion Rising and Take Back the Night. Sridevi is one of the women profiled in the book, Birthing God, Women's Experiences of the Divine. So welcome, Sridevi. We are so glad that you are here. And Before we get started, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Doug Myers, who will open us up in prayer. Thank you, Doug.
Good evening. I've known Sridevi a long time at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And in fact, way back in a foundations class, I was a TA and she was in my pod and we became friends. And when Lynn Carr Sykes and I talked about doing the diversity circle, which it wasn't called back then, Sridevi wanted to join. And so the three of us created the very first summer suite back, I don't know, Sridevi, how many years ago? Like almost 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
So
Wow.
I'm still glad that we are still growing strong, and it's my pleasure to do the opening prayer tonight. So I just invite everybody just to, you wish to close your eyes and just take a deep breath in and allow the busyness of the day to dissipate. And in this stillness, what a joy it is to recognize and to know the oneness of creation. That there is one source, one essence, one consciousness, known by many a name, as the Christ consciousness, the Atman consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, the Allah consciousness, the Gaia consciousness, and the more. It is the divine energy that is one love, one power, one presence. Its very circumference is nowhere, so its center must be everywhere, as it creates out of itself to expand itself. And being here in form, I must be of that divine presence. And so are all of us present, each a beloved, as the passion of the infinite in form. And what is true for me is true for all of us. So every expression of the creation is that divine activity, that passion, our divine purpose. And so I bless this evening, this Wednesday night Oasis team, and Sridevi as she leans into the discovery and the use of the individualized passion of creation itself, born within her, the divine knowingness, where she says yes to being that trusting, knowing, deep within the very center of her being, which is the center of creation itself, that place where she consents to being as it percolates into the doing of her purpose. I am so grateful as I allow the word of the infinite to resonate in every fiber of my being. I'm moved to gratitude, to a sense of celebration for how all of this works, even when my brain doesn't get it, but my heart recognizes it. And I allow myself to just bask in the joy and the celebration. And as I know this for myself, I know that every passion, every purpose is coming together, percolating into the vision of who and what each one of us is as a divine incarnation of God in form. And so it is in great thanks and in gratitude for this open-hearted evening. So please join me in saying, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I take over? Okay. I am delighted to be here, and I am delighted that all of you are here as well. We're spread out all over the place, and yet we're filtering in through cyberspace into this Zoom room. Gotta love technology for that. And I am going to start with saying a few thank yous. Gratitude is a great place to start anything, regardless of what it is. Gratitude is a great way to raise the vibration, uplift the energy. So I want to first say thank you to Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Pullman for inviting me to lead tonight's Wednesday Oasis and for all the details that she sent. I would like to thank Sally Bartholomew for sending me the logistical details and for hosting tonight. And I also want to thank our tech crew, Peter Gum, Alice Herndon, and Constance Chapman, because without our tech crew, we wouldn't be here in this Zoom room. Thank you, Doug, for that prayer. And I'll go ahead and say an advance thank you to Dorothy, who will be doing our closing prayer. And I want to thank all of you again for being here. Thank you. I'm just so delighted. So our theme this year is Living Out Loud. Our monthly theme is My Passion, My Purpose. And our affirmation today is I nurture my passion. It blends naturally with my purpose. So if you'd like to take yourself off mute just for this one part, I'll say that in two parts and you can repeat. I know Reverend Sunshine really likes the call and response. So here we go. I nurture my passion.
I nurture my passion.
It blends naturally with my purpose.
It
blends
blends naturally with my purpose.
All right. So now you can put yourself on mute so we have a good recording of this. Thank you for playing along there. This week, our topic is percolating your passion with purpose. So I did, as Reverend Sunshine Michelle had done on Sunday, with looking in the dictionary at some definitions. And so percolate means to filter, to spread, and then also to become lively or effervescent. Passion, anything powerful or any powerful or compelling emotion or feeling, such as love or hate. Purpose, now as a noun, it's the reason for which purpose is the reason for which something exists or is done, made, used, etc. And in verb form, an intended or desired result, end, aim, or goal. So these are the definitions. Now, Science of Mind says, what we learned here is first cause is creative. It expresses itself through us as we are the medium that spirit demonstrates in human form. As we create a divine mental mold, the universe responds with an equivalent physical manifestation. Activating our inner sense of joy becomes our purpose. The two are combined to benefit and even contribute to the expansion of the universe. There is a direct link in that what we think about, we bring about. So what does this mean? So I thought about that, and we talk about this a lot in services and even in the Wednesday Oasis about how we are expressions of the divine. The divine needs us. We are instruments of the divine. The divine needs us because we have the physical form, the physical bodies to express with. And what I want to do tonight is more of a dialogue. And so for the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at what our purpose is, what our passions are. And so I'll repeat again what the definition of passion is any powerful or compelling emotion or feeling, such as love or hate. So passion, anything that is a compelling emotion or feeling. So when I think about that, it's interesting what comes up, but passion is the way I see it, is the way that spirit communicates with us and nudges us along toward our purpose. Because earlier today, when we had first logged in, I was telling the crew here, I'm never bored. I have so many things that I'm passionate about. And I really appreciate last week, the speaker, Reverend Deb Hammond, was saying that many of us have multiple passions. It doesn't have to be just one or narrowed down to only a set number. I also have multiple passions. I'm never bored. And what distinguishes a passion to me from something else is how I feel inside. the energy. It's a quickening of the energy. It's an expansiveness. It's something that really stirs me more than something that I just like, So, and then I started thinking about, well, what is it that does the quickening of my energy? And to me, that's spirit. So, let's see, I'll share with you a few things that I'm passionate about, and then I would like us to, go around popcorn style, whoever wants to, and I'd love to hear what you're passionate about, but I'll share a few things. I'm sure there are many more. My list is very long, but I'm passionate about equity and justice, people, community, multiculturalism, art, music, theater, dance, exercise, fitness, movement, physical and otherwise, sound health, healthy eating, holistic living, environmentalism, the earth, gardening, homegrown food, flowers, spirituality, goddesses, stories, personal, fictional, etc., and education, both learning and teaching. Tell me what are some of the things you're passionate about. And again, just whoever wants to, or if you want to raise your hand, maybe you could use there's a reactions button at the bottom there, and then there's a raise hand, or if you just want to show your hand. I'd love it if you had your video on, but again, your choice.
I could say that I am passionate about crafts and creativity, crochet in particular. That's definitely something that, so working with my hands, making things with my hands is something I am passionate about, always have been.
Great, love it. Who else would like to share? All right, Alice.
I'm passionate about color. I like to see color around me, and it really brightens my day, and I allow it to speak to me, and it speaks to me. And yeah, I'm passionate about color, among other things, but color.
Me too. Have to add that to my list. Yes, definitely. As you can see, I like color. I'm wearing lots of colors.
Me too.
Sometimes it shocks people, but I don't care. Living out loud, right? Being authentic.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's what I'm going to wear. So there.
Yes.
What else? What else are people passionate about? Robin, Deb.
So one of the many things, but this I enjoy the most sometimes, is kind of like long road trips. And just that quietness sometimes, or music sometimes, but also to be able to make pit stops along the way, wherever my journey is, and to see so much on the roads or on the open pathways. But that's one of the things that really kind of resonates with me.
That reminds me, another one of my passions is travel. All right, who else would like to share?
I'm passionate about beauty because it inspires me, and I find myself looking for beauty all around and looking for beauty within myself and within others.
Wonderful.
So wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incomplete.
Freya, did you want to share yours?
As people have heard, I'm passionate about caring for the earth, and always have been. And when I was younger, Vietnam War was going on, and passionate about having peace on the planet. But I realized behind a lot of that is passion about health, being healthy in myself and others and the earth. And so it there's layers of it. And then behind that is our health, our spiritual connection. And I'm passionate about establishing that as strongly as I can in myself.
Yeah, great. Again, I see commonalities there too. And yeah, Sally, your sharing of the crochet, I'm thinking, yeah, I love arts and crafts too. I said art, arts and crafts, yeah, being able to make things with my hands. And beauty, ooh, inspiring, of course. Doug?
So I'm passionate about value, inclusion, belonging, and equity for all people.
Mhm.
I'm passionate about my love of especially dogs. They're a super important part of my life and my joy. And I'm passionate about being present for people in times of crisis and laughter.
Love it. Yes, dogs, another one to add to the list. Anyone else?
Can I throw another one in?
Sure.
I'm in Berkeley, and we zero waste. I'm passionate about zero waste because for me, in nature, there's no waste. And so I'm it's like, yes.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm passionate about sunshine too. Good weather. Dorothy.
I'm passionate about being available for my community. I'm really loving my community, and I want to always be available to whomever needs help from our community.
Mm,
I'm complete.
beautiful. Paul?
I am passionate, simply passionate about speaking. No, seriously, I am passionate about doing good in the world, bringing forth goodness to the forefront of everything. That's something that really resonates and is powerful within my being that I like to passionately spread.
Mhm.
Complete. Thanks.
Great. Alice, you gonna add to your list? Colors and
I like sharing when I'm happy, sharing it. And I'm pushing more to share it more, just to be sharing my happiness. And even if I'm not doing so well, try to share somebody else's happiness. If they're smiling, well, let me get a smile back to them, just to kind of share that wonderful connectedness and the happiness and the oneness.
And I think Spirit would love that, right? I mean, this passion is Spirit pushing through us to express, right, what Spirit wants. And so I'll read this here to you. As we focus on our passion, the tension to it increases its magnitude. Everything is energy. We have many choices in what we direct our attention to, and often we just go along with the daily diet of news and social media that leads to a malnourished spirit. This can distract us and override the vibrations that we are wanting to manifest. By becoming aware of what we are giving our attention to, we make a conscious first step. And I'll tell you a really quick story because it's a happy one, actually. So I mentioned that, I'm among my many passions. I'm passionate about dance and fitness and exercise and movement. And so as in my youth, throughout my life, I've been exposed to a lot of different types of dance: hula, Tahitian, Indian folk dance, Bhangra, Gidda, Dandiya, Garba, Middle Eastern dances, and then also ballet, modern jazz, hip hop, all of that. And when I got into my adult life, I would say after college and, started working and all that, I didn't do dance so much. And I think it was probably, there might have been a little bit of, okay, well, that was fun. So, but now I got to be adult. And instead, it just kind of converted and I found myself at most times having a membership at the gym. Now, I have no interest in lifting weights, whether on machines or free weights. I have no interest in the treadmill, no interest in the stationary bike. But what I really love is being in the studio. You know, being in the studio where the aerobic classes are happening because there's music and movement and community. It's fun. I love that. And so I've kept up with all the various aerobic trends over the years. But it got to a point where I was like, you know, because there's a difference between aerobic exercise and dance. And I found like aerobic exercise is very linear. And it'd be nice to have some of the fluidity, the curves, I guess, that you see, the sexy, I guess you see in some of the dances. And so I'd had that thought in my mind. And when I walked into my first Zumba class, this was years ago, I was like, aha, here it is, because Zumba is based, first of all, it was dance based. So aerobics is, you know, exercise basically made into a dance, whereas Zumba was dance that was made to be more of an exercise. Now it's evolved over the years, but its roots are in the Latin American dances like cumbia, salsa, merengue, all of that. And yeah, they move their hips and they swing around, and I just loved it. So after taking the class for a while, you know, and we had a group of us, and I found that, you know, people were really dedicated to this class, and I decided I wanted to get certified and be a Zumba instructor. And I had been an exercise instructor in the past for, you know, I've done high impact, low impact, pool aerobics, you know, water aerobics. I've done various things like that, but I wanted to get Zumba certified. And at the time though, I didn't have the extra cash to go get certified. It was, I believe, like $215 at that time. And I didn't have that around, or I couldn't justify it or something. But every time I thought about it, there was just this burst of energy that would come, that quickening that I mentioned, you know, it was like, oh, I want to do this. I know it'd be so great. And, you know, it was in alignment with so many of my passions, right? You know, the obvious ones of the movement, but also with health and fitness and, or health and, you know, all of that. So finally I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'll put on the charge card or something, you know, I'm going to sign up. Well, immediately after I did, oh, and the other thing too, the reason I was hesitating too was kind of like, okay, well, you know, I was thinking like in terms of my parents, like what would they think? They're like, okay, what are you doing? That was one thing if you did that during college and all that, but here you are years later and you're going to be a dance fitness instructor, like really? But it was at a time when the economy had crashed. So that was back in what, 2008 or something like that. So it was close to then. And, you know, a lot of us had to think outside of the box. Like, what are we going to do? And so I was looking at my hobbies and I thought, okay, well, you know what, this is something. So I signed up, and immediately after that, a friend asked me if I would, or someone I knew asked me if I would pet sit for her. She was going out of town and she paid me $200. Now remember the cost of this training was $215. When she paid me for it, she had in an envelope, and also in that envelope was a gift card to a coffee shop. And guess how much that gift card was for? So $250. I mean, like, what a demonstration right there. It was amazing. And it was because I followed that quickening. So that's a happy story. So I wanted to share that. So let's move on then to our purpose. This is, I guess, a bigger question, a deeper question. Passion is Spirit's way of telling us what our purpose is, right? So if we follow our passions, this is where the percolating is going to start. And again, passion is any powerful or compelling emotion or feeling, such as love or hate. And then there's also purpose, which the reason for which something exists or is done, made, or used, or as a verb, an intended or desired result, end, aim, and goal. Now, looking at powerful emotion, notice it's not always out of love. It could be out of hate, right? It could be a strong emotion. And in Sunday's talk, Reverend Sunshine Michelle mentioned going to Silmar and seeing a talk by Reverend Elijah. And he had said, follow your disturbance, because there may be something there for you. It may be showing you something that will move you forward. And so it could be something we feel strongly about, but not love, right? So maybe even in figuring this out, the question may not be what do you love, but what do you hate? What makes you angry? So I'll share mine, but I want to ask, again, we'll just do it popcorn style, whoever would like to share, if you know, what your purpose is. Anyone? What's your purpose in life?
Okay, I'll break the ice for you, Sridevi. I've been
Thank you, Paul.
in I have a simple purpose that doesn't sound very important, but to me, it's everything. It's to seek and know good in God, everywhere present, and help and love everyone and others. That's my purpose.
Mhm.
I'm done.
Thank you, Paul, for sharing.
Thanks.
This is Dorothy. I
Mhm.
really don't know what my purpose is, but I have been led from the time I was in my 20s to be a nurse, to serve people. And then when I found this community called First Church of Religious Science, that was another channel of serving community. So I'm still waiting for God to tell me, Dorothy, what are you supposed to be doing besides what you're doing? Is there something else, or am I to continue to keep serving? And I don't have a problem with that, because I love serving our community, anyone who needs prayer, whatever it is. It is not always about prayer, because people have other needs than prayer. So when I find out, I'll let you all know.
All right. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be something large, global, grandiose, or anything like that. Your
Exactly.
purpose could be very simple. Yeah.
Yes.
Love the people near you, you know?
When
Doug,
I
would you like to share?
was in my 20s, it was in the midst of the AIDS epidemic. And I found purpose volunteering with the Stop AIDS Project at that time. It was a really grassroots organization. And I remember I was actually working for Macy's at the time, and one of the fellows that was on my team said, "Hey, Doug, do you realize that you're in the Muni Metro?" And it's like, what are you talking about? And they had taken a photograph of a group of us. And so they have those big billboards in the Muni stations. And so there was a group of about 6 of us that were representing the Stop AIDS Project. And we that year we marched in the Gay Freedom Day parade. And I remember telling my mother, I said, "So Stop AIDS Project is going to be marching." And she's like, "Are you going to be up front?" And I was like, "Well, as a matter of fact, I am, because I'm going to be one of the ones holding the banner." Much to her surprise. So at that point in time, I was very passionate about that. And I continue obviously to be passionate about LGBTQ plus rights. And then as I got older, I mean, that sort of morphed into a broader passion around the rights of all people, which sort of fed into the diversity circle, of course. And then when I got sort of the call to go into chaplaincy, I fought for months about that, because I didn't think that was my path, and Spirit had a different idea about it until I finally acquiesced. And part of that process too was with our beloved Rita Rogers, who was a practitioner here, who some of you may not have known, but she was a chaplain with the police department. And she was the one that pushed me to interview with them. And I was terrified, because it's like, I'm a gay guy and they're all these like straight guys, and they're not going to want me as one of their chaplains. And that was not the case. And so, I mean, I feel like in my life, I haven't had a single purpose per se, but they evolve, but they also complement one another.
Great, thank you. Would anyone else like to share? I know this is the larger.
I'll
que-
share.
Oh, thanks,
I
Constance.
couldn't get the raise hand to work. Somehow it was hidden in that thing. So anyway,
Okay.
You know, I think one of the things that I find about the word purpose is that I can get really start to immediately feel like I don't know what it is. And even though I've always done pretty much the same thing throughout my adult life, which is to empower women, particularly women who are struggling in one way or the other, which is the case for the majority of women. But and I think another part of my purpose is to share that through teaching, because I'm really good at that, at facilitating. And so but too often I think we take purpose and think it has to be the way we're earning our living, so we get it confused with our livelihood. At least I have for a long time. So but one of the things that I've found really interesting is that as I've come into religious science, and the more that I've become seeped in religious science, the less less juice there is to some of that purpose, which is really interesting. And I don't quite understand it, but I mean, I do sort of understand it. I think a lot of what was going on for me was dealing with my own issues at the same time as working with other people. And I'm looking for ways of getting back into that, because I worked with abused women for 25 years. And now that I'm doing art and using art as a way of helping women facilitate, it's on my list. One of the things that's on my list is to contact the shelter here in San Leandro and say, you know, would you like me to do something, and as a volunteer. So I'm curious to see about getting back into that and see how that feels. I don't think I'd ever want to, I'm not sure I'd want to do crisis counseling again. That's pretty intense. And also in the United States, to be perfectly honest, it's a lot more dangerous. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. It still does sort of get me a little bit like,
Yeah, thank you for sharing. We have some similarities there, so I'll share my story about my purpose. So I grew up in a diverse environment I mean, multicultural, multiracial, multi-religious, you name it. But there was one common thread. That thread, sexism. Cultural norms blatantly and subtly, basically conveyed that boys, men, males, masculine were to be privileged over girls, women, females, the feminine. Sexism infuriates me. And so there's that strong emotion, right? I was infuriated. And so I'm very clear on what my purpose is. I mean, sexism infuriates me. Sexism ignited my feminist conscience. It motivates my activism. And so, yeah, I'm clear that my purpose is to help the healing, contribute to the healing of humanity through the empowerment of girls and women. And in last week's talk, Sunday talk, not this past one, but last week, Reverend Sunshine Michelle mentioned that she had just had a conversation with somebody who knew their purpose, but was the glitch. That was the word. So the potential glitch was getting it to, support and put a roof over the head and bread on the table, food on the table, and all that. And well, that was me that she had that conversation with, because I am clear on what my purpose is. But I found initially that it was something I had to do on the side. So I had my livelihood, and then with whatever time and energy resources were left, then I would do my other things. And I did try to infuse things within my livelihood as well. Like, I felt it was one of my responsibilities wherever I was working to do some kind of service project with the community. And I often chose a women's shelter or some other women's organization to do that. So, but when I shared this when we were having this conversation, she was saying that, yeah, she didn't know, she had her own messages about, doing ministry and getting paid for it and, all of that. And now, she's kind of been able to fuse her, I guess, her passion and then her livelihood. And now she is the executive director of a spiritual nonprofit. I love it. And she did a beautiful prayer. I wish I had recorded it. It was so beautiful, but it was a really good reminder to me. And yeah, I know I'm not alone in this. I mean, I don't want to just do this on the side with what's left. I decided at one point, you know what? No, I want to make this my livelihood. Now, some people may not want to. They may say, as far as livelihood, that's okay. They can make their money one way, and it may not be fun if they were doing their passion as their livelihood. But there is a distinction I make about, like still expressing your purpose through what you do. So they may still be doing the work, although they may have a separate career. But for me, I decided I wanted my career work, my livelihood to support me. And that's where I guess the human side comes in, where, I mean, there are a lot of people who would say, well, how are you going to do that? I can hear that. But quite frankly, I hear it within my own mind. And for some people, if they don't see a way to monetize their passion, then they suppress it. And that leads to resentment. It could lead to resignation. It just can't be done. It can't be done. That's it. And so I thought, maybe we could have a little conversation about it, because one of the things that she spoke about in the Sunday sermon is just still doing things. And that's one thing I have to say, that I never stopped despite doing it on the side or whatever. And still, even though I've been dedicated, been trying to find a way to make it support me, I'm not there yet. I appreciated that about the speaker on the Wednesday Oasis, Crystal Fry, on 2 weeks ago, how she said, yeah, she's still in process. There's still lots to work out. It's not a happy ending like my Zumba story. I don't have an immediate demonstration of this, but I'm still in the process. And in fact, things have grown even bigger, where I'm not just doing, girls and women, but it's also the divine feminine. There's a lot of sexism in religious and spiritual communities. A lot of things in our culture that we take for granted, that we're socialized with, that are sexist and, that need to be examined in order to empower girls and women and everyone. I think everyone's empowered when we have equity and justice for all. So I want to open it up. Would anyone like to comment on this? I mean, do you think it's possible to have your passion be your livelihood? Do you prefer to keep it separate? Just anything. What are your thoughts? Anyone? All right, Freya.
What I've noticed is the people that get to do what they love, like art and poetry and all that, that the satisfaction they have from that and the passion is like your reward. So mostly you end up not earning a lot of money. That's the way I see it. I don't know if that's the way it is, but which seems, well, who knows whether that's fair or not, but that's the way it seems to me. Has
I
seemed.
hear you. Oh, go ahead. Were you going to say something more?
It has seemed that way to me. So who knows? There's opportunities for that to be, do what you love and make enough money to be happy to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you, because intellectually I get it, do what you love and the money will come and all of that. I'm yet to experience it, but I think that's my opportunity for growth, to continue with the spiritual practices. Constance?
Well, I think that where did I go with this? That to just talk about equal rights for women or equal rights for gays or equal rights, any of that stuff, without looking at the structure of our society. So for example, what Freya was saying, that the people who seem to live their passion aren't earning a lot of money. That may or may not be true. But we live in a society that is based on greed. It's based on money. It's not based on any other, those are our values. So it's like, as long as those values are there, that's going to output. And so I think one of the things that I really come to understand is that with any of those isms, they have to start with me around working on myself and getting rid of those isms within myself, because then it can start to outpicture in a different way, and to do it in a way, because when I was younger, I was quite I was radical, and I was really very vocal, and not particularly nice about it necessarily, but and but we, until we can really deal with that internalized depression and are willing to take it on, like something happened at the center the other day where someone who'd been a member for a while decided to leave the center, which sometimes happens when you get a new minister. People just don't resonate. So, and yet when I looked at that woman, that person who left, I noticed that one of the other staff ministers that she hadn't resonated with was also African American. And I thought, this is one of those very subtle kinds of, whether it's true or not, but it's a very subtle way of putting our own discomfort outside us. And So, yeah, so I mean, I don't know if that was the case or if that's a story I'm making up, but I was just something I noticed. I found it curious. And it was like, I wonder, so. But I do think that it is about eradicating not eradicating, because we can't, it's all part of us, but really acknowledging and owning all our internalized depression. And I think the older we are as women, the more we've got it. Although what I see is a lot of younger women have it in a totally different way. Like I've noticed that there was a whole thing on Facebook with a younger group of entrepreneurs who were all into the goddess culture, but the goddess culture was being sexy. And to me, that is, again, just looking at the male gaze, so it's not a simple thing by any means.
Right. Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'm complete.
Yeah, and she spoke about that on Sunday and sharing her story about hypocrisy, right? I mean, yeah, it's complicated and what in Science of Mind that is to keep listening to what Spirit is telling us, and when we hear the message, to act on it. And I have to say for myself, like, yeah, often I do hear Spirit, but I don't act on it. When I do, it's often the right thing. And like I did with the Zumba thing, I mean, that was just incredible. It was like, boom, I'm sure we all have experiences like that. And in this case, I think for me, I have a lot of message. Yeah, you hear about the starving artist and all this kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, but as she shared on Sunday, yeah, she had all those messages too, and look where she is now. And so it's just to keep doing the spiritual practices and to act on what comes up, otherwise there's no point, and we know in this teaching, think about what it is that we want to bring about. We put our attention there, that'll grow, and that'll be that circle that we talked about earlier. And so tonight actually is a new moon night, and it's a good time, a new moon meaning no moon. It's a good time to put out intentions. And, some practices that we can do, and then I'll wrap this up, is like I did with the Zoom room today. I mean, start every day with an attitude of gratitude. Be thankful that, in the morning, first thing in the morning, that you awoke and you have a body and a nice bed, a roof over your head, whatever it is, start with that and set the tone for your day, by, I guess, listening in, like to what is it that you'd like to create, what you're hearing is, basically we want to grasp onto what it is that's ours to do, right? And so putting out our intention, but also listening to what we're getting back, and then spreading out, with our energy, spreading what's that love, right, that we feel, and kind of, again, setting ourselves up. Other practices, meditating, visualizing, journaling, maybe asking questions like, what am I being called to do? What is an action I could take today to make that happen? Finding one small thing in the day that brings you joy and doing it, or maybe a bigger thing. Somebody mentioned, joining, looking into other constants about, maybe it is about finding a place to do some volunteer work. Anyway, so this is a big topic. Thank you so much. I really have enjoyed this conversation. We could probably go on and on and on, but Sally has gave me the 1 minute warning a while ago, so I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you all very much. So I guess you're going to do the announcements and then Dorothy will, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So I do see that we have two hands up. We have Grady and Alice. If we can laser what you want to share, go ahead and share. So we'll start with Grady, and then Alice had her hand up as well. Grady, go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure I would make any sense out of what I would say, but I'll just try to say it quickly. I think in terms of my own purpose, is to be some type of example of what I think, say, do, feel. And I don't know that I've done that, but I know one thing that I would, if someone asked me about what they could do as a child and to grow through life and to keep doing, I would say skipping. All, and that would be everything. So that's
Love
what
it.
I'm thinking. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Grady. I love the idea of skipping. And it goes right along with Sridevi's meditation that we did before we came online. Movement, dancing with the divine. Yes, skipping.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So let's go ahead into our announcement. Peter, if you can bring up the slides. Get my notes going here as well. So this coming Sunday, August 20th, Reverend Georgia Prescott will inspire us to activate that natural something within as she speaks perfectly imperfect passions. Meditation starts at 10 a.m. and the service begins at 10:30 a.m. in the sanctuary. And then following up on Wednesday, August 23rd, practitioner Judith Roberts continues the discussion on perfectly imperfect passions. Meditation starts at 6:30 p.m. and the service itself starts at 7 on Zoom. Now, tomorrow is your last day to upload your donations to the silent auction. The auction itself will launch on August 27th and go through September 10th. So you've got a pretty good time frame where you can do your auctioning. The details on how to access 32 auctions, the platform we're using, will be coming soon. Now, this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the first of 3 new member classes. Yes, we're holding new member classes. If you want to find out what membership is all about, fill out an application. The link is on the membership page found under the About Us tab on the website. And you can attend one of these 3 classes or attend all 3 classes if you want. The first one's this Saturday in person. The other 2 classes are on Zoom on August 24th and September 14th. And those Zoom classes will start at 6 p.m. Now, Reverend Dr. Georgia Prescott, the one who's speaking this Sunday, is offering an after-service workshop this Sunday, August 20th, entitled Just Say No, Hell No to Aging Gracefully. The cost for the workshop is $20, and she has requested that at least 8 people sign up by today. I think we've got that first hurdle done, but please, if you're interested in this class, pre-register so that she knows what materials to bring to the class. Now, parking lot party. We will be having a party on Saturday, August 26th, and Rain Dugan is the party lead for this event. If you'd like to help, and we could always use volunteers and help, please contact Rain at susraine@hotmail.com. And if you're a vendor and you've got some items that you'd like to sell at the parking lot party, please complete and submit the vendor form, which can be found on our website under the events tab. Now, Constance Chapman is offering a free class teaser after service on August 27th. And this is going to get you in the mood for her upcoming spiritual enrichment class, Mandala Meditation. I encourage you to sign up for this class. The class itself starts on Thursday, September 7th, and it'll go for 5 weeks. The cost is $200. the teaser, is free. And you'll be able to sign up in person on that day if you'd like. Now, let's not forget our bookstore. It's summertime, well, kind of the end of the summertime, but we've got 30% off all books in the bookstore. Great time to buy books. There's so much happening at our center. Can you feel it? Can you feel the energy and the vibe increasing at the center? I know I can. We've got events, workshops, classes, and more. So I encourage you to sign up for the newsletter, visit our website, go out to social media, Facebook, YouTube, like us, and sign up for the alerts so that you get this information in a timely manner. All right, we are going to move into our conscious giving time. And I invite us, as we do this, as we move into this time of conscious giving, to really turn within and notice and feel the energy that has been uplifted just this evening with this conversation about passion. And as you notice that, give from that place. Navigate yourself to the website and give from that place. And as you do so, I invite you to say this affirmation with me. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance,
knowing
that as I give, I
receive.
do receive. And so it is. And
And
so
it is.
how do we give? Well, we go to the website. We can click on that donate icon, and you can use credit card. You can use snail mail. You can use Zelle, or you can text, or you can bring your offering into the basket at the Sunday.
So many ways for us to give to the center. And right now, I'd like to tell you about one of the special ways that people give to the center. They give to the center by volunteering, by being of service. And I'd like to thank first our speaker this evening, Sridevi, for all that she has given us this evening, the insights, the questions, the conversation. I'd also like to thank our tech team, and I know Sridevi did this earlier today, but I'd like to thank Peter, both Alice's, Constance, myself, anybody and everybody who is here on the call this evening. It truly takes a village, and our Wednesday night services are blessed by all who come. And so now I would like to bring up to the mic Miss Dorothy Mendez to pray us out for the evening.
Oh, let's just take in a deep breath. As we appreciate and know and bless Sridevi for her magnificent service today for each and every one of us, as she has allowed us to open our hearts and our minds to joy and passion within us. Let us give thanks for this magnificent talk that she gave today for each and every one of us. Let us give thanks, knowing that we will open our hearts and our minds to knowing that God is our source and our sufficiency in all things. God is all there is. And as she has opened this door of joy and passion, that we move through this process, knowing that God is all there is. And we give thanks for Sridevi, and we give thanks for Doug, as they have brought this diversity to our community, that we are able to open our hearts and our minds to know what's happening outside of Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Let us give thanks for this day that God has created, and for Sridevi to bring to us this magnificent message. And I say thank you, Mother, Father, God, for this and for the more. And if you agree with me, please join me in saying, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.